All right, all right, all right. Jack in the back is here today for the Colin Thompson Show. We have a special guest, Dan Brunskill, joining us. The two episodes this week, for those that did not hear the one on Monday, check it out. Is with Harry Mays, who's a Philadelphia kind of sports media legend. Covered Temple football for years, doing sideline reporting. I replaced him when he broke his ankle a couple years after that. I did that for 3 years as well. Harry's been a mainstay in Philly for a while when it comes to the media perspective. He's got a podcast with us called Geez with Jason Martinez, who's another mainstay in Philadelphia media. It does a bunch with the Philadelphia Flyers. They just have a funny show. Harry joined us to talk about this past weekend, the divisional round, what to look forward to, the championship round, talk a little Temple hoops, a little bit of everything. And then, of course, the big episode attached to it, about an hour with Rasheed Bailey, Division III, Delaware Valley University, all the way to the NFL, 2 CFL Grey Cup championships, an unbelievable guy, someone that you're going to hear a lot more about and hear a lot more from here at Not For Long Media moving forward. He's a stud. And then today we got Dan Brunskill, who has played, I think almost 40 starts in the NFL. When he was in the AAF, we were in the AAF together, found ourselves drinking at a bar together, having a couple beers after a game, and we beat them on a walk-off field goal. Nick Novak, boom, drilled it in his former Charger Stadium to beat the San Diego Fleet when I was with the Birmingham Iron. We had a plane issue, and I talk about this more in the episode, but had a plane issue, boom. They said, you're going to stay the night in San Diego, and we were thrilled, of course. So went out with the team, had a great time, and then Dan and I found ourselves just drinking, having a good time, telling stories. Former tight end, turned offensive lineman, now plays next to Mike McGlinchey, who I grew up playing sports against and with, and know his family well, who's the right tackle for the Niners. And then Christian McCaffrey, who's our running back, in Carolina, who's with him now too. So a bunch of guys on that team we have relatability with. A bunch of guys on the Eagles team I have relatability with. So that's kind of who we're featuring this week. And then with the Niners. So Dan's a great guest. But got a few minutes with Jack Connell. Jackie, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, just splendid. Living the dream. Getting a bunch of work in on this very busy Wednesday. I don't know why Wednesdays are just the busy day, but apparently they are these days.
We got to burn and churn before the weekend. All the work's done on Mondays. Yeah, Jack kills it for the Ross Tucker show. He kills it for our show too. He holds the glue together down there at Penn State Abington Club Sports. He's an absolute stud. But Jack, I haven't asked you yet. Prediction for the Niners-Eagles game. What are your thoughts?
I think San Francisco is going to do it on the road. I've said it before. I'm going to stick with my I want to say preseason, postseason Super Bowl prediction. I said Chiefs, 49ers, 35-31, Kansas City. Now if Mahomes sprained ankle, I don't know if that's still going to be the case, but I'm going to ride with it.
So, wow.
I will make me, Colin. I live and die by the take. I never stand down.
Yeah, well, you can give it maybe a little bit more juice on the show too. It sounds like you're about to take a nap, Jackie boy.
Well, I'm juggling 2 hands. I got, especially my dog is encroached on my studio, so I'm making sure he doesn't get into trouble. I'm multitasking here.
Great job, Jack. That's great. I mean, I thought we were going to be able to clip it and make this big speech of what Jack thinks about the game. Listen, I'm not going to give a prediction on the game, but you're not going to get a better football game than what you're about to see. A really good Niners team coming into probably the best home field advantage in the NFL, in my opinion, other than maybe Seattle or one of these dome teams like New Orleans when they're rocking and rolling. Just tremendous place to play. Play there in college, on the grass, 2 kind of old school NFL teams, 2 different offenses. The Niners, outside zone, play action, multiple things in the run game, the screen game, creativity, jet sweeps, motions, toss plays, big shots down the field, quick shots to Aiyuk, Kittle, obviously C-Mac, Juszczyk, Debo. They have an unbelievable O-line. So that's going to be a really cool matchup. Their defense is one of the best in the NFL. Their front 7 is unbelievable. They have great players in their back end. So they're built tremendously. They're well coached on both sides of the football. An awesome GM. And you can flip the same thing to Philadelphia and say a lot of the similar things. Different offensive scheme, more of that kind of spread it out, catering to Jalen Hurts probably, offense with high-flying shots down the field, and really an unbelievable run game in itself. Just a different run game, more inside zone, more pulling probably with Kelsey and those guys on the move. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't watched enough, but a fun high-flying offense of the Eagles and this high-flying defense of the Eagles, which has an unbelievable record-breaking season with sack numbers, and Hassan Reddick, a former teammate of mine at Temple and Carolina Panthers, having a great year. So when it comes to storylines, this game is not short of them. It's going to be a blast to watch. I can't wait to see it. I'm working on getting there for the game. But just high-flying talent. Some of the best players in the NFL are going to be on this field, like a really big number of them. Like 40 of the top probably 200 are on this field, it seems like.
I think the way they said is like 418. I don't know. I saw basically the 49ers and the Eagles are like 90% of the Pro Bowl or Pro Bowl alternate members this year for the NFC, which is insane.
Really is. So I'm looking forward to the game just like everybody else. We really haven't talked much about the Chiefs matchup, but again, this is like the Bengals team now. Like a couple of years ago, we're like dead as a doornail. Joe Burrow gets hurt, tears his ACL. When they draft him, they take Jamar Chase. He's like begging for him to take him. At least that's what the reports were. They go get some defensive players. They secure up the offensive line. People are playing great. Running backs good receivers, good tight end. Hayden Hurst has played fantastic. And, a high-flying offense, very similar to kind of what the Eagles are doing, what their run game and their passing game and spreading people out a little bit and making people cover the entire field because they have great receivers, got a great O-line. And then obviously the Chiefs, kind of probably the least talked about team at this moment of time. I would assume because it's like almost like, hey, they've been here, they've done it for multiple years. And the Eagles have too, but the Chiefs have just been the kind of the team of the last 5 years. So we'll see what happens, Jack. You've got a great slate. I'm kind of bummed it's coming to an end, though. This is the most fun time of year for me because I get to watch all the games.
I mean, from a work perspective, I'm looking forward to the end of it, but it's definitely going to be, it's weird because like I was talking about it, somebody yesterday, I'm like, when we were watching Bills Bengals, I'm like, this is the last time we're going to see one of these teams for like 6-7 months. And it just feels weird. It seems like the season had just started. It seemed like it was only like a month ago. J.A. and I were down in good old South Carolina training camp, and now the season's already done, which is just crazy to think about.
And from a player's perspective, the middle to the end part of the year is so much fun. The holidays are around, families more around, the playoffs are right there. There's just more going on. You're through training camp, which is the hardest time of your life, hardest time of your year. And then, you're kind of through the early seasons. The pads come off later in the year. They're taking care of your body a little bit more. The games are, like I said, are more meaningful. You get those big divisional games. So, the end of the year is like a great time of year to just really dial in and really kind of focus on just, hey, we're like one game away from a playoff spot. It's like right there. It's right in front of you. And now they're kind of ripping through it here in these last 4 teams. And we'll have the week off and then we'll have the Super Bowl. So, yeah, it's a bummer it's over. But, hey, that's the beautiful part of what we got going on with the media company here. We have so much stuff to talk about. We're pumping out 2 episodes a week, rocking and rolling. Have some of the former teammates I play with in college at Florida, college at Temple, guys I play with in the XFL, guys I play with in the NFL. We have a chiropractor coming on moving forward. We have like all these different people coming on. That's why we like to do it here. But we're going 2 episodes a week, probably through the Super Bowl, I would assume. Maybe 1 or 2 next week. We got to figure all that out. We're still talking through it. But, yeah, Dan Brunskill is joining us. Dan's an absolute just stud. Before we go, though, Jack, you got a big event tonight, another Sixers game. How many times can James Harden pound the rock at the top of the key and give a Joel Embiid an alley-oop with no one contesting him?
Yeah, we got Sixers. Well, at the time it's recording, it's Sixers Nets tonight, which is hopefully if everybody plays, it'll be the first matchup between Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons since the trade, which is will be fun to watch, see how that goes, if it'll be a clean game or any interactions or whatnot.
It's like over so quick. It's like, is that still drama? It's not even drama anymore.
It's not really. Nobody's really talking about it. It's just something like over. But it's a shame Kevin Durant's obviously still out with his MCL sprain, I believe it is. So we won't be able to watch him. But my thing is I want to see at least every star player once. And we were able to see KD when he was on like that Hamptons 5 Golden State team in 2017. So I'm not too worried about seeing him. The only ones I got left is we have Luka Doncic, who we'll see this season. And then I've yet to see LeBron somehow. I've seen like every other player except LeBron. And then Victor Wembanyama next year. Those are kind of like the 3 that I want to check off.
There you go. And maybe Bronny James in the future. Junior.
He's not going to. Well, we'll talk. I don't think he's going to be. He'll make it to the league because of he's a James. And he'll probably be. He's a second-round pick. I mean, the main thing the NBA said around him is he's going to get drafted because LeBron has already openly said, whatever team drafts my son, I will go to. So any team.
So someone's going to take him with the first pick.
I wouldn't say first pick, but I would see him being like a first rounder because if it's LeBron, I mean, he's still putting up, I think he's averaging like 30 plus points per game over the last 2 months, which is insane. So he'll be probably a year or 2 older, just as good because he showed no sign of slowing down. So yeah, I mean, if he's keeping this up, it could be a top 10 pick, and it's just because they want LeBron Senior, which is weird to say senior with him. I don't know, but
well, there's your only NBA scoop from Not For Long Media here until Jack bursts an NBA show. That is it, guys. Awesome weekend of football. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay safe and man, get out there in Sambone. Check out that podcast. You got Two Girls One League. They're killing it. Breaking Bats, killing it. What else we have, Jack? Colin Thompson Show and Geez with Harry Jays and Jason Matitas. We got a whole media company here rocking and rolling. So check out something for everybody here. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the Dan Brunskill interview. As always, we'd like to thank all of our sponsors and everybody who supports our podcast here at the Colin Thompson Show, brought to you by Not For Long Media. Special thanks to our friends over at the Original Fudge Kitchen, shipping fudge and sweet treats across the country. Nothing beats the fresh saltwater taffy and the creamy fudge of the Original Fudge Kitchen, located all up and down the Jersey Shore and conveniently located online at fudgekitchens.com, literally shipping it across the country. I shipped some fudge to somebody today with a wish wrap, which is like a Snuggie, a onesie type vibe. Great for the kitchen, great for being outside, really warm and comfortable. And I put the order in and boom, got the email about, 15 minutes later that it's already shipped. So they are killing it at the Original Fudge Kitchen. Again, fudgekitchens.com. Shout out to our friends at Actions Over Words, just supplying us here with just great gear and a really charitable philanthropic company that we love to support. ActionsOverWordsApparel.com. Check out SeatGeek, guys. If you're going to a game, lots of games to go to this time of year. Promo code Colin Thompson, $20 off your tickets, $50 or more. We used those for the Maryland basketball game last week. Shout out to SeatGeek for always helping us out. Love using their app. Love what they got going on over there. Shout out to our friends over at Som Sleep, the best natural sleep drink on the product. Som Sleep. Get Som Sleep. Promo code Colin for 10% off your order of Som Sleep. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the Dan Brunskill interview. All right, so we got an old buddy of mine. I think we can call ourselves buddies. We were out one night drinking together. Dan Brunskill, 49ers offensive lineman. How you doing, man?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. So, quick story for the listeners. I'm wearing the Birmingham Iron jacket today. I had to put it on. I'm sweating my ass off wearing the jacket, but I was like, what memorabilia can I wear today for the show? And so the Birmingham Iron go out west. They take on the San Diego Fleet in the AAF that I was only a part of for like 2 weeks at that point of time. I wasn't part of training camp and that whole deal. And we played the Fleet. We won on a walk-off kick. The plane had issues. We stayed the night and then went out with the San Diego team. So we're drinking, having a good time. I find myself pairing off with a couple of like guys from a different team. We're all over. Like the whole group was go somewhere. It's like I think it was St. Patty's Day. It was St. Patty's Day. And Dan and me, and then Dan and I found ourselves late night just crushing beers, sitting together and being like, oh, dude, what are we doing in our careers? Like, I'm a former tight end. I'm a tight end. You're a former tight end, turned offensive lineman. And then here you are, man, like almost 40 NFL starts later. Like, what a crazy grind it's been for you.
Yeah, no, it's been wild. The AAF ended up working great for guys like us. Gave us opportunities to go to the NFL, find a different team, have a good fit. And that's what it took for me for sure. Like, when I was in Atlanta, I was pretty much just a practice squad guy. They kind of just saw me as that. And then I kind of chose not to sign the futures there, and then ended up going to the AAF, getting some film, and then to be able to come back and go to the NFL, not only just make an active roster, but then, start some games. It was just, like the jump start to my career that I needed. So that was huge. But yeah, speaking of the back in the day, shit, I forgot about that. The AAF, you guys staying. That's one thing that was cool about that league. It was kind of more just laid back and just to go to the bar, drink some beers with the guys. You can definitely call us buddies because, if you have a beer together, you got to be buds.
Yeah, so we're definitely buds. And we've stayed together on Instagram and, going back and forth on things and wishing each other luck. And yeah, I remember telling that. I tell that story all the time to people. Like, we were just begging to stay over. I remember Mike Dunn, another player out of that league. Our whole offensive line went to the NFL that year. Mikey Dunn, he's with the Browns. Bunch of guys. But JC. I remember sitting JC, Pittsburgh. We had 2 guys go to Carolina that aren't there anymore. But I remember sitting on the side, like where the bus is loaded, and being like, whoa, I love Birmingham. Loved you guys. It was a great city. But man, we're leaving San Diego. Oh man, these guys are fortunate to be able to play here. And then literally group text comes through. We're spending the night. Get on the bus. We're going to the team motel. I was like, oh, let's go. Let's go. So we tore it up. We had a great time. We were out in PB.
No,
And, yeah. So we're a little we're a little spotty with the Wi-Fi. We're pulling through here. How dude, talking about the Niners. I mean, like literally, dude, you couldn't go into a better fit for like you as a player, as a former tight end. Like, you play tackle, but you're not, you're a big guy, 6'5", but you're not like Trent or Mike. These guys are ridiculously big. So it's like the perfect fit for you in that scheme. Talk about the scheme, talk about Coach Shanahan and how it all works well for you.
I mean, it worked out great, like you said, to go to a team that like expects athletic offensive linemen, guys that can move well, guys that can run, that like really fits in with that zone scheme. That was just an amazing fit for me to go to. And then, I mean, Kyle's amazing. He draws up some crazy plays. I mean, he goes to the point where he's drawing up there's some wild stuff that we're putting out there. And, most people would just look at that and laugh, but it's kind of just super innovative. And it's just great for our offense because it presents a lot of challenges for opposing defenses to cover. And it really gets us going. So it's a lot of fun. And I mean, this is a great team to be around, just the camaraderie in the locker room. Like everybody's a brotherhood here. And that's what makes this place amazing.
You guys have been around each other for a while. You've won a lot of games together, been a Super Bowl run together, and especially, the O-line unit there, especially you and Mike really have been there for a while. And I know Mike, obviously growing up down the street from each other. Mike's been on the show, played up youth sports against Mike growing up. I'm talking about Mike McGlinchey here for those that are tuning in, right tackle the Niners. But, I watch your guys' games every week on film because I want to see what Kittle and the tight ends are doing. There's so many different things that they do and the motions and the shifts and how they align and when they're coming back across the formation and all that stuff. But I think the coolest part for me is like how you guys run power out of one formation and then the next same formation you're running outside zone, right? You guys probably call it WAS. I don't know what you guys are calling it, but you're calling outside zone out of it. Like, how much fun is it for you and how much of an advantage is it for you against the defensive line that, there's some teams like we're a duo team, right? You maybe mix in a little outside zone, but you guys truly run so many different things.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what gives us so much of an advantage because our outside zone sometimes we'll run a deuce block that you'd have on power or like a B block you'd have on the backside of outside zone. And to the defense, it looks like the same thing. And unless they can see the pulling guard or it's happening so fast that, they can't tell the difference sometimes. So it helps us get a extra wash, get guys moving. Defensive linemen are looking like they're trying to chase down the backside of an outside zone. All of a sudden it's power right up their ass. So that's kind of the best part of it. They can't tell what we're running. We'll run duo plays too. It's just another play just to get a quick hitter. We'll sprinkle in so many different things. It's amazing. And then if they try to overplay our outside zone, we can hit inside zone. So that was one of our big plays for this last game against the Cowboys they were doing a great job taking away our outside zone, trying to stop us from running the ball. They were able to key guards on pulling gap schemes. So then, they were able to stop those plays. And then it wasn't until we got to our inside zone or plays where it's somewhat power, but without a pulling guard. Those are the plays that were hitting because there was nothing for them to tell the difference from the two. And then it was really able to get those linebackers to slow down. So then when we got back to the outside zone, it would actually hit a lot better because the backers weren't flying over the top, just taking it away.
Yeah, there's so much that they do, guys that are listening, that it all looks the same, but it's completely different in the run game. It helps you guys in pass protection. It's fun. I watch it every week. It's like my entertainment on Thursday when I'm eating my breakfast and I'm in the tight end room and I'm like, okay, I watched all the tape I need to watch on the other team. It gets exhausting. Let me learn some things about other teams are doing. That helps me. Let's transition here. I was just kind of thought about this question, but guys around the league that you like watching. I was like, I turn on and watch Kittle, like everybody, for every tight end should. That's listening. That's not going to be Travis Kelce. Should be watching George and should be watching your guys. And I watch a lot of different guys, but used to be Witten. I like Chris Manhurst in Jacksonville, like the guys that block and then that do both. But guys around the league and maybe schemes that you like watching.
I mean, shoot, I like watching a lot of different tape. I mean, every team, they just change like throughout the years. One guard I like that's just a beast is like Brandon Sheriff. He's amazing to watch. He's got some great play. He's just such a beast. He does everything right. And I mean, that's why he's been the top guard in the NFL for a long time. I like watching Buffalo. They got some really good guys that play hard. One thing I like about watching them is that, like, I'm an undersized offensive lineman. I'm not, the strongest out there. So like I was watching guys that are kind of like somewhat the same as me, where they're in a scheme that kind of runs the ball or is trying to move. So I like watching Bates and like Saffold over there because they present the same thing. They're not guys that are gonna blow you out of the water, like how great of blocks they're making, but they're guys that consistently do their job and do it well. So I like watching those guys at Buffalo. I mean, I try to find guys that are kind of similar to me. There's I watch Seattle sometimes because they're starting to get like an outside zone game going. Some of the stuff that they do. I love watching the Saints. I watch their inside three are very similar to us. Their offense is similar to us, so I like watching the way they go. Trying to think of other teams that I consistently watch.
No, that's a good list, man. That's a good runoff there. Bates and McGlinchey like legitimately grew up together and played on the same like youth sports teams and all that stuff. So I don't know if you know that. And then yeah. So Bates and I see him in Key West every year. Like, he's the man. Ryan's the man, and got paid a bunch there. Good for him. And then Salford's good. He was in Tennessee before, man. They were fun to watch too with their wide zone stuff. Outside zone stuff.
Yeah. No, mainly like those teams, like not many teams will run the outside zone. So that's what, like, one of the hard things is, like, especially compared to us, because we're like, when we run outside zone, I mean, it's going outside, it's going out fast. Like, we're trying to get the edge. A lot of teams will run outside zone, like kind of like the Rams, they'll run it, but it's a lot to cut back. So like more teams I can watch, like Tennessee, Seattle's starting to do it. Saints do it a lot. The Texans do it. So like I try to watch those teams because that's the most similar to us. And then that way we can, get ready for the week. Those are the best teams to watch for like game plan stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. You got to watch the similar tape. Yeah, I think there's a lot I think everybody wants to run outside zone, but do you have the reps? Do you have the alignment? Do you have the back? Do you have the quarterback that can handle the checks and all the things that come with it? Yeah, there's a lot to it. That's going to be the big thing for you guys this week. Yeah.
Tight end's like the most important part.
Yeah, dude. Like, it really is. So you appreciate the position.
Well, I mean, shoot, like, I was a tight end, but at the end of the day, if you want to run outside zone, the only way you can do it, like, you can't always just run it to the open side just because it's just tough. It's tough sledding, and you can't just release the tight end and let them just go block a DB because, they'll set the edge just as easy on an open side run as they do when you release the tight end. It's like literally if you have the tight ends to block it, that's the one where you're going to actually capture the edge. And so they're the most important part for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. You guys got the guy that does it. I think far and away, he's the best tight end in the league. This is not fantasy football, folks. I've said it on the show before. George plays the position the way it's supposed to be played. The offense helps him do it, but man, oh man, he's a freak, man. I'm a huge fan. Let's transition. Yeah. I got to ask you about my boy. What's it been like with C-Mac in the building? That guy's different, huh?
Oh, yeah. No, freaking Christian. I mean, he's an amazing guy. I mean, you could tell he's going to fit in like great here because the first day he got here was a Friday before we were playing the Chiefs on Sunday. And literally he stayed in the building till like 11 o'clock to get as many of the plays like down as he could. He was studying all night and then literally got back in the morning like at like 6 a.m. and then stayed the next day, Saturday, till like 10. Like he was literally studying the whole time just to make sure he could play in the game. Like he was doing everything he could. So, I mean, you knew right then and there, like this guy's going to be a beast for us. And then he's just consistently gone out. And I think what sets him apart from other backs is not only can he run the ball, not only can he get the edges, like running the game, but his pass game, I mean, he's just as good as any receiver out there. And he's got some great hands. I mean, there was a catch in the Dallas game that was just literally me and Mike just turned to each other and is like, that's a baller play. Like the fact that he caught that ball, like it's so like, he's such a good playmaker on pass and run that it's just a great weapon to have out there.
No doubt. And I always say to people, I think he's the best player in the NFL. And everyone says, whoa, like that's a hot take. But I don't know, man. I think what he does, I mean, you guys have a lot of some of the best players in the NFL with a couple players on your offensive line, a couple players on your defensive line, Debo. There's a lot of really special talent there. It's good for you guys, man. That's awesome. What's San Fran like? I spent some time out there. But you like living in the city, like, or where are you at? Are you in the suburbs? Like, how's that go? What's like the player location compared to the city? And then what's the city like?
Okay, so the player location, we're down in the Silicon Valley, so we're like South Bay, and San Fran's up north, so it's about an hour away, depending on traffic, I guess. But the city's cool. It's got I'd say it's kind of like a tourism city. I mean, you got the Fisherman's Wharf, you got the bridge, you got I forgot what the winding road was, but I mean, like the houses up on the hill, it's a beautiful city. You got the redwoods. And there's so much to do around here. I think what sets it apart from other places, like you can drive to Tahoe and, I think it's about 4 hours. You can go to Yosemite, you can go to Santa Cruz and the beaches. I mean, you have so many different options of things that you can do within less than like 4 hours or less, that you can do so much. And I think that's what makes this area great. And then also the weather is just amazing. I mean, we're playing a game where it was like maybe a cool, crisp, like 50 degrees. Like, I mean, it wasn't that bad. And then you look at the Bengals and the Bills game and it's like literally snowing. And so it's just like, it's kind of that, the weather that we have to play. And then just a great fan base. So, I mean, the city's cool. It's got great food. It's got a lot of different food options that you can do. So that, I mean, you can never go wrong with what type of food they got around here. And then down by like the players, we're in like Silicon Valley, San Jose, Santa Clara area. Kind of a lot of businesses around here. So it's more to do up in the city, but I mean, still you're so close to be able to do anything. It's like, you got a lot of options. So it's a pretty cool place.
What was San Diego State like, man? That's some of the best weather in the world. That had to be some good times, man.
Yeah, no, you can't. I mean, I mean, San Diego is probably the best city I've ever been in. Like, it's freaking amazing. The weather's like 70 degrees average year round. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And then just San Diego State was just an awesome school. So much to do. I mean, you can go get out of class and within like 15, 20 minutes, you could be at the beach, just hanging out. I mean, there's a lot of cool things in that area. Great place, and I can't wait that they got this new stadium. So before we were trying to fill up Qualcomm, so games weren't super like amazing just because you have a 90,000 or like I think it was 75,000 person stadium to fill. And I mean, we were a good team, but we weren't like crazy. And then so like it didn't look as good, but now with them having like a 45,000 stadium, they can definitely fill that up. And I think the environment's going to be sick. So I can't wait for San Diego State football because it's going to keep getting better and better.
Yeah, man, I'm bummed. Night Temple football, we're kind of in the same arena, the college football level there. A lot of NFL guys at both schools. Great competition. Yeah. It's a bummer, man, because they had the opportunity to do the same thing, and now we play where you're about to play this weekend, where the Eagles play. And we've had some games. We sold it out versus Penn State. We sold it out versus Notre Dame. But you play Tulane, and there's like 15,000 people in the stadium, and it's a bummer. So good for you guys, man. That's great. As we wrap things up, I mean, playing the Eagles this week, you're playing in Philly. Everyone's going to talk about it's a tough place to play and all this stuff, but really you're not worried about that for you. They got a hell of a D-line. They got a hell of a defense. They're a really good football team. You've played them before. You've played there before, I'm assuming. I'm going to throw a stab at it. what's it like playing there, and what are you looking forward to this weekend matchup wise for you guys in the middle?
Yeah, no, I played there last year. We played early in the season, and then I've also went with Atlanta when I was on practice squad, and that was a playoff game. That was actually the year Philly won the Super Bowl. But I mean, it's definitely like the stadium's going to be loud. I mean, their fans are crazy. They're wild. They're going to show up, and so it's going to be a great atmosphere to be in. And then, I mean, their team, I mean, they're stacked. The fact that they got 70 sacks on the year, that's an outrageous number. I think the record's like 72, and for them to almost obtain that, like, I mean, that's even with 17 games, that's like over 4 sacks a game or something like that. I mean, that's ridiculous. Like the fact that they're putting up that number, and then also like the corners they have behind that, like the secondary, to back up those guys. I mean, they're a tough challenge. And then their offense, they're getting yards. They have one of the better O lines in the league. Really respect those guys. Love watching those guys. They're a little different offense than us, but they're still like some great players. So I mean, I like that. I watch Lane and Jay all the time. But they're they're a tough team, so it's going to have to come down to like turnovers. Are going to have to protect the ball, and penalties. You got to be smart. You can't be getting penalties, killing drives, and then it's going to come down to who plays football. I think the way it's supposed to be. No negative plays, and just keep moving the ball, because I think it's going to be a tight game. Those guys play super hard, and they're rolling right now. They're firing on all cylinders, and I think our last game versus the Cowboys wasn't our best game, and we can definitely come out better. But I mean, it's going to be a fun atmosphere. It's going to be a fun game. And it's going to be a tough challenge. I mean, those guys up front, I mean, they're great players. I respect the hell out of them. I played them a few times. I know it's never an easy challenge going against them. So, I mean, we just got to be on point, do our thing, and at the end of the day, we're going to play our hardest and see what happens. But I mean, we got a chance to do something great, and I think all of us in our locker room are just sitting there. We know our backs against the wall, and you just gotta play your heart out.
How many tickets is McGlinchey buying this week? Is he playing for free? He's got to be.
Shoot, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, he's got his whole family. I mean, his girlfriend's going to probably come out. I wouldn't doubt, like, her family probably comes with. I mean, all his friends and everything, like his buddies are in that area. I mean, he's going to have a huge, huge fan base in itself. So it's gonna help us, because the more Niners we can get over there, the better, and even it out a little bit.
Well, I think I'm going to be in the building. I'm working on it. I want to, come see you guys. Come see C-Mac, Mike, you. I know a bunch of guys on the team, so I will not be wearing Niners red, but I will be quietly clapping.
Yeah.
And for those going that are Niners fans, do not wear red. I promise you, it will not go well. It is not the right decision. As we wrap things up, I thought I was going to wrap it up before, but I'd be crazy if I didn't ask you about Purdy, man. You have any stories for this guy? I mean, to come in and do what he's done. I mean,
Brock Purdy, he's a legend. The dude, I mean, he works hard. That's another thing. Like, you knew he was going to be the guy coming in, because he was one of those rookies that just didn't take crap from anybody. I mean, as older guys, you're always getting on the rookies, and he stood up for himself. So you knew right away, he had a backbone to him that's for a quarterback. You always need that. And then I mean, like Christian, when he came in, like the work he was putting in, Brock was the same guy. I mean, we went to Colorado, and this was before. I mean, he was starting. He was at the backup at the time because Trey was hurt. But we were playing poker one of the nights because we have an extra night, and the reason we were staying in Colorado was to get ready for Mexico City's altitude. So we stayed the week out there. I mean, we would ask him to come play poker a couple times later in the week because he played earlier. And then he said, "Nah, guys, I got to go study." So, I mean, the amount of work he put in just to get ready was amazing. And then our Halloween party was freaking hilarious, because him and his roommates dressed up as the three things. So they're wearing these like giant red onesies with this ugly blue hair, and they're just running around at a bunch of tequila shots, and all of a sudden you see Purdy up on the bar, and he's like shouting, going to the Super Bowl. And so, I mean, the dude's a freaking legend, and just some of the stuff he does is just hilarious. And I think he's going to be an amazing player. And he's got some grit to him, and he balls out. And that kid, he's got no fear. And so I love watching him play. I love blocking my ass off for him because, I mean, he's a guy that you can just definitely just get behind. And he's doing so much that, you just got to do everything you can to give him a chance, and he's going to make plays.
That's awesome. We appreciate the stories, man. 'Cause that's the good stuff. That's the stuff you always remember. That's the fun. That's what makes it all this craziness worth it. So, dude, I wish you nothing but the best of luck. Always cheering for you on and off the field, and all the guys out there. So tear it up, man. Safe travels out east, and good luck this weekend.
All right. Thanks, brother.